So in the last episode, we stopped at this result and this number of modifiers. Of course, they are not enough for a realistic hairstyle. This result is also not enough. Therefore, we continue to work with it and gradually bring it to realism. Naturally, we will make various edits, and I will show you how to do it. So, first of all, remember that if you created something in Create Brush mode, some kind of hairstyle, then clumping by guides will not work for you, and therefore, for it to work, you need to copy this asset. Look, let's say I want to create clumps based on the number of guides I have. Ideally, it should be reduced, and I showed that moment in Shorts. That is, we created a smaller number of guides. I now suggest reducing them and gradually refining them. That is, to continue the conversation about clumping. For this, in Ox Edit Guides, I apply the Ox Filter modifier on top. In the Ox Filter modifier, we make the following settings. In Precision, we set even and reduce the percentage in Fraction. This way, you will maintain the shape while reducing the number of guides. So I would leave about this amount and just refine it later, because it will be easier for us to work with and easier to edit. If you now turn on Hair from Guides and Edit Guides, the structure will be preserved. This is good and can be refined later, but I personally suggest deleting this Edit Guides because we will still be working with this guide structure and temporarily turn off Hair from Guides. And let's go back to editing the brushes. So first, we'll collapse the stack using Collapse 2. Thus, we will get baked guides, which can be attached to the scalp. Not can, but must. That is, you will need to attach this hair to the scalp again for everything to work correctly. I will not dwell on this point in detail. I recommend referring to the documentation if you want to learn more about baked guides. I am immediately showing the creation of a hairstyle and focusing on the points that I use in creating hairstyles. So, we have baked guides and we apply edit guides on top of it. And we start working with this number of guides. We will form a rough hairstyle. I remind you that I am using the second method, which does not generate masks, but creates hair clumps from the guides. That is, in Hair from Guides, we use generation from guides, and not interpolation based on these guides. To work with a specific group of guides, you can select and hide them. To do this, simply switch to Root mode. Select the necessary guides. For example, I want to work with these guides, then find the Isolate Selected option. By clicking on it, you isolate the part of the guides that you have selected. Next, you can comb and edit them. And I recommend starting the work from the lower parts of the hair because it's convenient. Gradually build up the shape from the back of the head. You can also work with this part. It's up to you how you prefer. Personally, I find it convenient to work from the back of the head, gradually building the hairstyle. For this, I will turn on the body to see where the hair falls. I'll temporarily turn off the scalp and start combing these guides. That is, I want to make them longer approximately to this part, something like this, lower them and create a hairstyle like that. I select these guides, go to brush mode, activate FX selected only, to work only with these guides. Also, I turn on legacy mode to comb them faster, like this. I make them longer using this brush. I don't forget to enable FX selected only in it. I make the length about this much. I make sure to check everything in wireframe mode, because the guides can go into the body. And I gradually comb them so that the hairstyle is formed like this. Then I do unhide all and see what I've got. So we continue to work with this part. I select the bottom one, and by holding Control, I select the next part. If you hold Alt, you can deselect the excess. We select these guides, press Isolate Selected, and start working with them. I recommend building the guides evenly. That is, in this case, if this guide corresponds to this one, then a guide is missing here and it needs to be added. You can add it in a simple way. You need to go to Brush, click on Create Brush, and select Position equals Center in the settings, and add this guide. It remembers the position, so it's added this way. So we check the correspondence of the guides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would move it a little more. Like this. 7, 8 corresponds, and 9, 10. And for this guide, you can add a pair using Create Brush. Without changing the settings, just click opposite this guide. And we get this guide. The only thing is, we'll need to select this guide and comb it this way, so that it is equal in length to this pair. That is, you form the hairstyle in such a way that the entire length is the same. Of course, you can trim it as you like, but I try to do it evenly. By the way, if the guides turn out to be longer than necessary, you can select the scissors and trim them this way. This will all still be edited. In hairstyling, get used to the fact that there will be a million iterations. So, we have these guides and you can work with all of them at once. For example, take them, select them with Control, and comb them like this. Don't forget to edit the Strands attenuation curve a little bit. Then, you will be able to influence the roots. And look, we need to comb them like this. Make them longer using this tool, and comb them again. So editing in Ornatrix is very simple. There's nothing difficult. You can add a little bit of chaos. Again, check the individual guides. I just pressed Q to switch to selection mode. This is very convenient. Then press W to return to the Move Brush mode. And in this way, I edit everything. We do unhide and move on to the next group. I also recommend assigning groups for convenience, so you can quickly select them. That is, look. So I did Control Z to return to the previous position. Let's assign the second group to these guides. How to assign groups? Very simple. There is a Groups tab. In it, you need to activate Use Strand Groups. Enter 2 in this field, press Enter, and click the Assign button. Then Control I to invert the selection. Enter 1 in the Group field, press Enter and the Assign button. This way, you will have different groups for the guides. This is very convenient because then you can select an entire group. If you activate the Select by Group option, you can select a group. See, right? I just selected a whole group of guides and can work with it. That is, do hide or unhide and so on. Of course, don't forget to turn off this option to select individual guides. So, we do unhide and look. Our next group is this one. Again, not all guides will correspond, so gradually, carefully we select them in this group. Since there was a 0 group here, it's better to assign a group first and then select. Let's assign the third group to these guides. Press Enter and Assign. Now we have 3 groups, and we work with this part. I think you understand the principle. I will now start editing the guides. To be continued.